upon a time there was a little old lady. She lived in a little cottage all by herself. She had always wanted a daughter of her own, but she had never gotten one. One day, she found a magical sorcerer. She walked up to him and asked, "How can I have a child?" He said, "Tend this seed carefully with water and sunlight, and you will have a child of your own. So she did. One day, the flowers started to glow, and out popped a little tiny girl. She was the size of her thumb, so she named her Thumbelina. One night, a frog came and took Thumbelina to the middle of a pond so that she could not get out. One day, while the frog was sleeping, some little critters in the pond wanted to help her get out. They pushed the lily pad to the outside of the pond, and she hopped off. She walked and walked and walked, and it started to get cold. She came up to a little cottage and knocked on the door. Out came a little mouse. He said, "What do you need?" Thumbelina said, "I need a place to stay for the winter. It is getting cold, and I am very tired." The mouse agreed to let her in, and they had dinner together. One night, the mouse said, "My friend the mole is coming. He may even want to marry you." Thumbelina said, "I do not want to marry anybody. I just want to go back to my home." The mole came, and he asked Thumbelina to marry her. She said yes and went underground. One night, she walked outside and found a little bird lying on the ground. The bird was hurt and was crying. Thumbelina asked, "What's wrong?" He said he had a broken wing and was hurting badly. She said, "If I will help you heal your wing, will you take me away?" He said yes, and she healed his wing. The next morning, she got up bright and early. She hopped on the swallow's back, and the swallow brought her to a beautiful land of flowers where she met her true love. They had a wedding and threw flower petals, and the little old lady even came and built them little cottages. The end. The mother duck. She laid 5 eggs. One day, 4 of the 5 eggs hatched. And out popped 2 fluffy little chicks. The mother duck was worried that the last egg wouldn't hatch, but then one day out popped an ugly gray-colored duckling. One day when they were going to the pond, the other ducklings teased the ugly duckling, so he wandered off into the forest. When he was in the forest, it became cold, so he went to a family of ducks. They rejected him. So he went to the hen house. They pecked him, so he ran away. When he was wandering in the forest, a dog met him, sniffed him, and then went away. The ugly duckling thought to himself, "I'm sorry, I don't really want to eat my one dog." One day a peasant found him and took him home to his family. But there he was troubled by the cat, so he left the peasant's house. It was spring once again, and he went to the pond. There he saw a beautiful swan swimming. He bowed his head in dismay, thinking he was an ugly lily, and found that he was a beautiful swan, and the 2 swans lived happily ever after. The end.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Cinderella. Her mother had passed away a few years before now, and so her dad had married a woman with 2 daughters. Whenever the father was not around, they would make her do everything for them. But one day while she was cleaning, there was a knock at the door. She answered it, and there was an invitation to the ball. When she gave it to the stepmother said that she could not go because she didn't have anything to wear and she had too many chores to do. Cinderella ran to her room, and and stayed there for the rest of the day. The next day, whenever the stepmother and stepsisters went to the ball, she stayed home and started crying because she could not go. Then a voice asked her what was the matter and why she was crying. She said, "My stepmother and stepsisters will not let me go to the ball." But the fairy godmother said, "Of course you can." And she transformed her rags into a beautiful gown and glass slippers. The fairy godmother said that the dress would wear out after midnight, but not the slippers. And so off to the ball she went. When she got there, she saw the prince, and he asked her if she wanted to dance. She said yes, and they danced and danced until midnight. When it was midnight, she heard the clock strike, and she ran away. She, not knowing that she had left a glass slipper on the palace stairs. When she got home, she changed back into her old rags and acted like she had been cleaning forever. When the stepmother and stepsisters got home, she asked them what happened at the ball. They said nothing much. So she thought, thank goodness, maybe the prince will come and deliver my glass slipper to me. And the next day there was another knock at the door. She answered it, and it was the prince. He had the glass slipper, and she didn't know it was the prince, so she ran upstairs. Then the prince tried it on the first stepsister and the second stepsister, but it didn't fit. So Cinderella heard all the commotion and came downstairs, and she said, "May I try?" And so he slipped it on her foot, and it fit perfectly. And they got married and lived happily ever after.
And there was a prince, and he was looking for a princess. But he knew his mother would know best, so he went downstairs to the kitchen and asked his mother, "What is a true princess?" And she said, "A true princess is a princess that has the voice of an angel and is very delicate." So, agreeing with his mother, he set off to the next castle. Then, at the next castle, the princess had eaten too much. In the second castle, the princess squawked, "Will you marry me?" In the last palace, the king and the queen did not like the prince. So he went back home, sat down, and gave up. "I'll never find a true princess." And then there was a big boom of thunder and a knock on the door. And when he opened it, standing there was a beautiful princess. She said, "Will you let me stay at the castle tonight and sleep here and have supper here?" The prince agreed and led her to her bedroom, to the guest room. Then he told his mother, and she saw the princess was drenched and said, "A true princess would have somebody to take her outside and be at her home with not being drenched." But she saw that the prince had already fallen in love with the princess and said, You have my blessing to marry her on one exception. She must be able to sleep on 20 light and fluffy mattresses and feel slight, tiny little pain." So he did as he was told, stacked up 20 mattresses and put a tiny little pea. Then she fell asleep, and when the prince woke up, she went to the princess's room and saw that she looked horrible. "I'm sorry, Prince, but I didn't get any sleep because it felt like there was a rock in my bed." So he smiled, got down on one knee and said, "Will you marry me?" They got married, lived happily ever after.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood was walking to her grandmother's house. On the way, she ran into the woodcutter. The woodcutter said, "There's a wolf that's always hungry, wants to eat little kids," while the wolf was hiding behind the tree. The wolf ran to the grandmother's house, hid her inside a cabinet inside the house, and then the wolf lay down in the bed. Little Red Riding Hood went to the bed and said, "What big ears you have." The wolf said, "Just better to hear you, my darling." Little Red Riding Hood said again, "What big eyes you have." The wolf said, "Just better to see you, my darling." And then the Little Red Riding Hood said, "What big ears you have." The wolf said, "Just better to tease you." The wolf jumped up, Little Red Riding Hood freed grandmother, and then they ran back to the mother's house, never to be seen again.